The first time I consumed someone's sorrow, it was by mistake. My Aunt Clara had passed away, and my cousin Emma was sobbing uncontrollably during the funeral. She held her mother's wedding ring so hard that her knuckles turned white. When she hugged me, she dug the ring into my hand. "I just can't look at it anymore," she said. "Just take it away, Riley." I tucked it into my pocket, and something odd occurred on the way home. A warm flush coursed through my stomach, as if I'd had a shot of fine whiskey. By the time I pulled into my driveway, I was freaking terrific light, nearly euphoric. Meanwhile, Emma phoned to thank me. She'd slept through the night at last. "It's like a weight's been lifted," she said. I didn't make the connection until 2 weeks later. I was stressed, eating a gas station cherry cupcake, the ones made with that radioactive red icing that colors everything it touches. Clara's ring stayed in my pocket, and when I took it out to examine it, some of that gooey icing smudged on the metal. Without realizing, I licked it off, and once the ring met my tongue, it dissolved, melting like cotton candy as that same warmth coursed through my system, but this time stronger. That's when I knew what had occurred. In some way, I consumed Emma's sorrow. 5 years went by, and I made it a business, not technically, naturally. You can't very well have Grief Eater printed on a business card, but the news got around among the desperate. The procedure was easy. Bring me something that links you to your deceased loved one, something that contains your anguish. I eat it and your pain is gone. I billed according to the level. 1,000 for a parent, 500 for a sibling, 250 for a grandparent. Pets cost a straight 100. The rate wasn't scientific, but how much the pain would mess me up afterward. But I never said what had become of their grief afterward. It hadn't gone away. It resided within me. I'd ingested the emotional pain of 78 lost loved ones, and each one had left a residue, a whisper, an itch, a memory that wasn't my own. I referred to them as the chorus. Most days I was able to cope. They were simply background noise, the mental equivalent of a TV set on in another room. But in recent times, they'd been growing louder, more insistent. Whispers turned into conversations. Conversations turned into arguments. Pleas had taken over the arguments. Let us out, let us see them. We miss them. I disregarded them and continued eating. The heat that followed eating sorrow had grown addictive, more intense than any drug I had ever consumed, and I had tried my fair share. The company was just a guise to continue experiencing that thrill. I had been having the same recurring dream since childhood, trapped in my body, aware but unable to move or speak, as something else moved through my veins from within. I'd wake up screaming, bathed in sweat, relieved to be back in charge. With age, the nightmares grew less common, yet stronger. Being turned into a passenger within my own flesh was a worse fate than death. I'd rather not exist than exist as a captive within my own body. They were controlling me like a puppet, and I couldn't even shout all childhood terror of possession, all adult fear of losing control. It was all unfolding in high definition. This was more than a nightmare. It was the nightmare that defined me. Sarah was sobbing now. "This isn't funny. You need to go." Do you recall that summer on Lake Michigan, when I pushed you off the dock and you lost your new sunglasses? I told the fish took them. She blanched. Nobody knew about that. I did. I do. My hand brushed against her face. "I need you to do something for me now." "What?" She breathed. "I want you to take him something else. Something that's got more sorrow in it. My journal. It's under the mattress." "No," I screamed in my head. "Don't do it." But naturally, she couldn't hear me. No one could. I was stuck in the passenger seat of my body, a helpless observer as they used me to gather up more grief, more memories, more spirits to contribute to the chorus. During the next 3 days, we went to 7 of my clients. Every time, the newest member of the chorus took charge to persuade their loved ones to give up more grief-laden objects. Some were suspicious, but the majority were so desperate to think that they were speaking to their deceased that they did as we instructed. The same pattern, my body would appear unexpectedly. My voice would utter things only the dead would know. My hands would grasp whatever they were given. Journals, pictures, wedding bands, even garments. And then my mouth would devour them, adding each new voice to the chorus. With every new object I ate unwillingly, the chorus became more powerful. I could feel myself getting smaller, squeezed into a smaller and smaller part of my mind. The dream was taking over, growing more actual by the hour. By the fourth day, I could only get in control for a few minutes at a time, generally while they slept. In these short moments, I fought back with everything I could, pain, booze, even banging my head off the wall. Nothing was effective. They just laughed and regained control, their voices blending into a cacophony of ridicule. The only time they allowed me to break the surface was when they wanted me to be aware of something, such as tonight, as my corpse remained on my bed, gazing up at the ceiling with eyes that no longer belonged to me. "We're heading to the cemetery tomorrow," the first voice, Clara's, explained. "We've concluded that it's time to expand our business." "What are you talking about?" I communicated to them in my head. "New grief is the sweetest," another voice declared. "We're going to go out and find those who are grieving and promote our services in person." "No," I thought. "I will not let you." They laughed, a cacophony of individual voices all speaking through my vocal cords. "You no longer have a choice, Riley. You're now just the vessel." And I knew they were correct. I'd been so intent on battling for control that I hadn't even thought of the other option. Perhaps I couldn't drive anymore, but perhaps I could still wreck the car. While they discussed what they were going to do, I plunged deep within myself, where my own sorrow dwelled, not theirs, mine, the sorrow I'd been avoiding my entire life. I uncovered the memory of my father's death, the overdose. I found it 14. My mother's suicide 2 years after that. The friend who died in my apartment when I was out purchasing more drugs for us. All the sadness I'd never dealt with, never accepted, never gorged on. I drew it up like poison from a well, and before the chorus knew what was happening, I turned it on them. Grief is alive, it grows, evolves, changes. And the more you feed it, the stronger it becomes. My grief poured through the chorus's space in my mind. When the grief-feeding beings touched them, they howled, beings unaccustomed to grief themselves. They had only ever been the echoes, impressions left over, never the source. "Stop!" they cried out as my grief consumed them. "Stop! Stop! You desired sorrow," I said to them. "Here is yours. All you can consume." I pushed all of the painful memories through my mind, every loss, every remorse, every despairing moment I had ever known. I'd lived my entire life in flight from these emotions, but now I welcomed them. They were my arsenal. The chorus broke under the attack. Some voices disappeared completely, others became whispers. A few of the strongest resisted, attempting to take back control, but the attack drained them. For the first time in days, I was able to move my hand when I wished. I crawled to the bathroom, gritting teeth against the struggle still waging war in my head. In the mirror, I saw the gaunt lines of my face, eyes puffed red. I looked older by a decade. But they were my eyes again, for the time being at least. "This isn't over," spat one of the lingering voices. "We'll wait. We'll get stronger again." "No," I spoke out loud, my voice raw but my own. "You won't." I opened the medicine cabinet and took out a pocket knife. The one my grandfather gave me before he died. The one thing I'd never touched despite its potential for grief, because it was too valuable. I shoved it in my mouth, cold metal on my tongue. I clenched my teeth, letting it melt. But this time, rather than letting the sorrow go down, I dwelled on my grandfather's love, the way his eyes lit up when he handed me this knife, how he taught me to carve. Sweet memories went along with the ache. The knife melted into a flash of feeling, not only sorrow, but happiness, love, pride, nostalgia. And I understood my error all these years. Grief, it's not pain that kills you. It's all that love all of a sudden homeless, battering your ribcage, insisting on a place to be. And by eating only the pain, I'd been making these starving ghosts, these scraps of people made of grief. I stood there with my mouth open to share this epiphany, but nothing was coming back. The chorus had fallen mute, for the time being at least. The following morning, I cleared my apartment of all the grief, objects I'd accumulated throughout the years. Not by consuming them, I wouldn't do that again, but by restoring them to their families. Some individuals were enraged when I knocked on their doors. Others were perplexed. A few even begged me to reclaim their grief. Me, I couldn't. I wouldn't. Each returned object took a weight from me, with every weeping discussion. Each stammered explanation, each apology. The voices in my head diminished not entirely. I could hear them sometimes, particularly in the evenings, but more like recollections than intruders. I imagined them not as the individuals they used to be, but as wounds to heal, both theirs and mine. For the first time in months, I slept without the old nightmare. The fear of being trapped in my own body had lost its hold on me, not because it wasn't scary anymore, but because I'd experienced the real thing and lived to tell. I'd confronted my worst fear and survived it. I quit seeing clients, relocated to a new neighborhood, and changed my phone number. Yet people continued to locate me, clutching at the hope of easing their anguish. Rather than devouring their sorrow, I heard them out. Sometimes that was sufficient. Sometimes it wasn't, but it was honest labor at least. A week following my emancipation, a fellow came to me with his daughter's teddy bear. Cancer, age 7. Take it away from me, he cried, sobbing. I can't endure this pain. I remained by his side for hours while he spoke of her. Her favorite flavor of ice cream, how she always wore mismatched socks, how brave she was at the end. Before he went, I informed him of the truth that sorrow is merely love with no place to go, that the ache he was experiencing was the other side of how much he adored her, that healing doesn't equate to forgetting. Take the bear, I said. She loved it, and you loved her. Let it hurt for a while now. Someday it'll hurt less, but you'll still have the love. As he departed, bear in hand, I felt something inside me change. A couple more voices in the chorus dissipated, subsiding into gentle quiet. I still have no idea what I am or how this weird power thing works. But I know what I'm not any longer. I'm not a grief eater. I'm simply Riley, a person learning at last to digest my own.